June 14th, 2009, the NASCAR Cup Series heads to the Michigan International Speedway. Nearly 100,000 fans in person and over 5 million more at home would strap in for what would be one of the more frantic and insane finishes of the COT era. The 2009 season so far was an interesting one, especially with the drivers. Favorites like Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart were ascending back to the top of the heap, including Stewart, who was just coming off his first points win as a car owner. Meanwhile, others like Dale Earnhardt Jr. were on the midst of a winless streak, a one-year anniversary of his last win, and coming in on his worst season ever. Yet, the aforementioned Gordon and Earnhardt would see their two teammates that would bookend an insane turn of events to end this race. So starting out, while Brian Vickers won the pole, he'd never lead a lap, as Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch took him 3 wide in turn 1. Driver 18 leading the first few laps, as Jimmy Johnson soon was on the prowl.
Led this season, he has led the most laps in 2009.
And you see that 48 working that high groove, and you can see how he closed the gap. He just picked up 4 car lengths on Kyle right there. So you obviously see the big 2 differences right now. Kyle's trying to work the low line, but watch the 48 as he runs high, especially off the corner. This is where you get ahead of steam and go.
This lead would only be given up for 2 laps out of the next 144. While the pack raced in every line on the track, Jimmy was putting on a clinic out front. Others, though, were making some noise. Quietly, but still some noise. New Hendrick Motorsports driver Mark Martin and Roush stalwart Greg Biffle were 2 of those big ones. And through the opening 3/4 of the race, only debris, or what NASCAR would at least say was debris, would slow the race down. In all accounts, this race was a stereotypical bad COT race. But in this, Biffle worked his way up towards the front, right behind the 48, and the Neon 5 was a sleeping giant on his way up to the front as well, slicing and dicing through the pack. And by 60 to go, there were 1, 2, 3. And that's when the first and only incident of the day would happen.
And watch the middle of your screen, the 12 car.
That thing just busted loose, and he was just hanging on for the ride at this point.
Told the team the car had been loose up until then.
I think slid a 1/4 mile before he hit anything. I mean, think about how far that is. Here he is coming off turn 4, down across the apron, on the pit road.
Blew the right front.
Here's the big thing. The lucky dog, the 17 of Matt Kenseth. He will get to come around and be the 22nd car on the lead lap.
Right on the outside of the fuel window, what would be the final restart of the day was given green with 45 to go.
Here's the double file restart, shootout style, 45 to go.
Hamlin got a terrible start right there. You saw him just spin the tires and then try to block as much as he could to the inside.
Biffle, then Mark Martin. Then Jimmy Johnson. Man, I love that restart.
Well, Kyle Busch is working that high line, and he is passing cars right now.
While the top 3 before the yellow still were 1, 2, 3, it was now Biffle gapping Martin, who was ahead of Jimmy Johnson. The HMS duo were right on the edge of the fuel window, and crew chief of the 48, Chad Knaus, was sure that Greg Biffle in the 16 couldn't make it, so he wanted Jimmy to race the 5 and then run the 16 out of fuel. So getting past Martin with 23 left, it was a pretty big deal. All 3 slowing their pace to save gas, trying to make it to the end, similar to the race a year prior. And they would all be coming back together right at the finish.
It's almost like if I can ride behind him for 4 or 5 laps.
10 to go.
10 to go.
But what I would be afraid of on that car, I would want to get in front of him because I don't want to race it.
Yeah.
If he's in fuel conservation, I want to get by him, and I want to have a little bit of a cushion, because if Biffle drops the hammer again because he's got enough fuel, then you got to race him.
Yeah, then you got to race him. That's true. Once you get him down, you want to keep him down. You want to keep him down.
Let's go.
Gordon is 4th, Hamlin is 5th. Mark Martin runs between those 2 packs in the 3rd spot.
Biffle's not going to give him that high lane. Greg knows that's not the... He may have him there. Yep, he's going to be clear from there.
Got some traffic in front of them. Johnson slides in and gets the lead.
Coming to 5 laps to go, Jimmy Johnson had it. And it was now a question of fumes. Who had him? Biffle kept the pressure on the 48, and he knew that this could be the difference. And the fuel gavel was finally about to drop, and it would be echoing silence that would be heard.
Conservation mode, looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, actually, Matt, right now where he runs, he would move up to the 10th spot in points. So you're right, he does need a good finish today.
Less than 2 to go. And again, these cars, their drivers, oh, Biffle, really loose.
He's just driving it, man. He's just driving.
These guys on the edge of their fuel window. We saw what happened at Pocono. Guys running out, coming out of the final turn last week.
But now you got to turn off the fuel mode, anything.
Yeah.
Now everybody's 100% with 1 to go.
White flag is out. Jimmy Johnson's out of fuel.
Yes.
Jimmy Johnson is out of fuel. Biffle leads. White flag in the air. This is the last lap.
Biffle may be the new Silver Fox.
Well, hang on. We got a long way to go. We got Mark Martin sitting right there. Mark just moved to second.
Biffle's, he looks to be slow.
He's slowing. Is he slowing?
He's off the pace.
He's off the pace.
Here comes Mark Martin.
Oh, he's barreling.
Oh, my God. Oh, look at Biffle.
He's shaking it. He just went to the switch.
Here comes Mark. Oh, no.
Half a lap from the finish. Mark Martin to the lead.
Incredible.
Does he have enough fuel?
This is drama, dude. This is...
Oh, yeah, he can coast from here.
Out of
He's
4.
got it.
Biffle's going to coast.
He's got
Mark
4 wins here and another one today. Mark Martin takes the checkered flag at Michigan.
While the win at Phoenix was huge and the Southern 500 victory was monumental, this one cemented Mark Martin's resurgence in 2009. It would also be the first win of his career from starting outside the top 25, so it was a pretty big deal. This win also would vault him to 8th in the points, into the 12-man chase. Martin had had a terrible season leading up to that point, so it was huge in his comeback. And after winning Chicagoland, a race actually with the same name as the Michigan race, Martin would qualify for the chase and be the toughest competition to his teammate Jimmy Johnson's 4th championship. After leading 146 of 200 laps, Johnson would finish 22nd, a speed bump basically en route to his 4th of 5 straight championships. He'd get redemption 5 years later at Michigan in 2014 in another strategy race. And Biffle? Well, he'd redeem himself at Michigan in the future with 2 straight wins, first coming in August of 2012, and then in the first Gen 6 race at Michigan in 2013 in June. Ironically enough, both were off of Jimmy Johnson, losing races that seemed to be in the bag. Even Michigan had another bite at the apple that year in 2009, where Brian Vickers would win thanks to, once again, Jimmy Johnson running out of fuel at the end of one of these races. And honestly, from green to checkered, probably a better race overall. But the end of this race at Michigan was Michigan at its best, a race where nobody seemed to be wanting to win. So with that, I want to hear from you. What are your favorite fuel mileage races and finishes? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.